So my name is Jarzynska and I am Polish. I've been living here for over 15 years. I have been involved in the Welcome Project since 2008, I believe. And from the start, I was a support worker supporting minority ethnic community living in Lisbon, bringing other activities to integrate people and let minority ethnic learn more about Northern Ireland, but vice versa. We started them to actually educate people from Northern Ireland about different cultures as well. We introduced International Children's Day, which is widely celebrated in European countries on the 1st of June.
You're settled here. What do you like about Northern Ireland?
I went back to Poland maybe after 4 or 5 years, staying in Poland for 3 months just to see if I was maybe ready to go back, but no, it didn't work. I think living here for so long just opened my eyes to different things, and Poland just didn't seem to be the right place. And I think first of all, I think it's actually people. People themselves are very kind and caring. You walk on the street and everyone is smiling and asking you how you're feeling. Whereas in Poland, you just don't look at each other. So you feel valued. Maybe because I've been involved in community work for so long as well. It's just different. I feel you are equal. You are just like anybody else and you feel valued. You do have opportunities to actually educate yourself and gain new skills. And I actually did my degree here in business studies, actually giving something back to community and actually putting smiles on their faces. And it is so important, and it actually gives you back more than just money. But obviously, I'm not going to lie, and I'm going to say that money is the reason why we are still here as well.
Now, way back in the 2000s, in the national and even in the international media, Northern Ireland and particularly Belfast, in the greater Belfast area, was given a bit of a bad image. Headlines like Belfast is the racist capital of Europe and things like that. Was that fair, and did that square with your real life experience?
No. Well, whenever I came to this country, I first lived in Moira. So I always heard stories about Lisbon and Belfast, how unsafe it was. And after 2 years, I applied for a different job in Lisbon. And I came to Lisbon and I just didn't know what they were talking about, because to me, it's all safe. It always has been. I'm not afraid of going to any areas of Belfast. I hear stories, I hear people talking, but I've never experienced anything like that. And sometimes I just wonder, why do they talk like that? Because it's not what I see is happening around me,
What do you feel about Northern Ireland being part of the UK?
Good question. To me, Northern Ireland was always the part of UK, so it's very difficult to imagine it differently. When I came here, obviously, it was all new to me, so I had to still learn a little bit of culture and traditions, even food and public holidays, and even the language. I spoke English when I came here. I did my A-levels in English as well, but it was so different because you're taught like a proper English. All those accents, I just thought they spoke Chinese to me. I managed. So I had to learn it all from the beginning. It was all new to me. So if we were to be a part of Republic of Ireland, it's again starting from new, starting from nothing, from scratch. And there is a lot of questions, whether will we have to learn Irish language, and I'm sure everything would change, and the systems like health and education and welfare, everything would be different. And I don't know, it's just Northern Ireland was always to me a part of UK, and I can't see it any other way.
How important are things like free education and the National Health Service?
It is very important. I just think that we pay our contributions, and that is something that we work for, and we have to have it for free. It couldn't be I cannot imagine paying for all those things. Why do we pay taxes? Why do we pay contributions? Where does it go then if that's not provided for free? would that, would that divide, let's say, education? What does that mean for my son? Is he going to maybe go to a worse school because I won't be able to pay massive amount of money for getting him to a better school? I just think that those things should be free, because everybody has the right to access education the same way, regardless of how much you can afford.
List me three things you think are positive about Northern Ireland being in the UK.
People, lifestyle. And again, I was shocked when I came to this country. I was shocked that young people were actually going out with their parents and uncles and aunties. People in Poland just cannot afford to do that. It's amazing what sort of lifestyles people have here, and that actually they live to the fullest. They really enjoy their life, and I love that about Northern Ireland. And they're very happy people, I think, in general.
You're living in an area that was traditionally, although things are changing, a Protestant, a loyalist kind of stronghold. Most Polish people, as you know, well, not everyone, but the vast majority are of the Catholic faith. Did you ever encounter any problems given your faith background?
No, I never had any problems with that. And someone explained to me once that even though you're Catholic, you're not Republican, so we don't have any. I'm like, right, okay. Yeah, no. Plus, I think living in Lisbon isn't as divided. I know you do get a majority of people will be Protestant, but you don't have like divided areas like in Belfast. You can obviously, someone tells you where they're from, and straight away what area they are from. Lisbon isn't as much, and I think we are so mixed. Never felt bad about actually openly saying that I'm Catholic. But I think people see us differently because we are not from Republic of Ireland. We're just Polish Catholics, which is different apparently. My son, he's got English name, Joshua. It's just because I think that we live here, and it's difficult because my name is Joanna, but everyone knows me as, well, it's very difficult, but Joanna is Asha, basically. Joanna is very formal, Asha is informal. But I just didn't want him to have problems with his name and explaining his surname is Polish. So that actually is part of his identity. He knows that he's Polish, but I just wanted him to feel maybe more part of this community by having English name. To be honest, Henry, I think that actually there is less racism here than there is in Poland. Myself, I've never experienced any bad comments towards me and the fact that I was Polish. Yeah, maybe because I am the same color of the skin, whatever. But I think that Northern Ireland is more tolerant than any other places in Europe. Poland would be 10 years behind. I always laugh and say that. Where we are today, I think we're doing quite well, to be honest, Do
you think in 10 years' time, this place will still be part of the UK with all that entails?
I would like to think so, yes. I don't know whether it's the right thing to say, especially me not being born here, but I just cannot understand why people cannot accept that we live in Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland is a part of UK. I know the part of history and how it became all about and whatever, but this is the country we live in, and this is the way it is. We shouldn't be actually fighting against each other to create something different, because as always with every change, there are pros and cons of everything, but people have to start understanding. And even with Brexit, I believe that people voted, but they didn't know what they vote for. So here, if they wanted to actually have a united Ireland, they don't really know what they want and why. It's all based on the history, but thinking about what's best for us at the moment or for our kids in the future. We are who we are, where we are, and let's just put up with it and move on and do whatever we can to have even better life in the future.